we're going to talk about the one thing that will sabotage your dating reboot. When you're at that stage of your reboot where it's time for you to start focusing on learning how to build intimacy, emotional and sexual, with the women you desire after you've spent so many years compulsively seeking sexual gratification in unhealthy ways, why you sabotage yourself, right? And that thing is the belief that you need to work on your career or you need to work on your business before you start dating. Now, this rarely happens before a man starts dating. This belief doesn't come up. Interestingly, it only comes up when he started dating. And if we were to go even deeper, this belief, which is really an excuse, comes up after you've taken some sort of L in your dating life, right? So remember, you've been using pornography compulsively. You've not been focusing on your dating life. You have to learn how to understand women, understand their behavior. You have to learn how to be intimate. There was no intimacy in pornography. And for some men, you spent so many years viewing pornography that you don't have game that is appropriate for your age. So let's say you started watching pornography in your teens. By the time you're in your mid 20s and you're trying to get serious about your dating life, all you have is just teenage level game. Sometimes it's basic romantics. I got to take her out for a date, a dinner date, and just be myself. I've got to buy her gifts. Now, not every guy is like that. There are a lot of you who are a little bit more sophisticated than that, and you understand how basic game works. But many of you have a lot of learning to do. My point is, as a result of that, you're going to deal with rejection. And these are strong emotions that you have been running away from, and you've been using your compulsive behaviors to medicate. So when you start dealing with it, it's very difficult for your ego to accept that you're being rejected. And there are things you also have to learn because you're not sure. You're like, am I being rejected because I'm not good looking? Because all your insecurities come up when you get into your dating reboot. Am I being rejected because I'm not socially calibrated? Am I being rejected because I'm not jacked and I'm not masculine enough? Why am I being rejected? That's the hard work that you have to do. But most men don't want to do that work. What's the easiest fallback? It's easiest to simply say, you know what? I'm just going to focus on work. Why? Because in today's society, you understand that if you have money and if you have status and if you have power, you will automatically be more attractive. But this is not a healthier alternative to pornography. All of these things are crutches. This is the time for you to learn how to improve your personality, your charisma. And this is the time for most of you who are doing this, you're in your 20s through your early 30s. This is the time when you are young and you are most attractive, and the things women are going to judge you for are the fewest. You know what happens to guys who decide that they're going to go all the way in? They're like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on my business. I'm going to focus till I make this much and this much and this much. Because you're running away from dating, it's an excuse. You don't want to deal with the pain that's going to come from dating. You go all in on that. You will go back to some compulsive behavior or the other. But what happens is you're squandering your best years by not putting in a little bit of time to date. You become two options, actually three options. I don't like the last one. But the first one is you become a wealthy older man who's lost his looks. You're not as good looking as you were before. And it becomes a little bit more challenging for you to get with women because now the only reason they're with you is because you're a provider. You never got the opportunity to truly build intimacy when you were younger. Option one. Number two, you don't become wealthy, but you just become middle class. In this case, you become a middle class guy who basically pays for prostitutes, dates women his age who you're not even really attracted to because while you were younger, you never got the opportunity and you never put yourself out there to date women your age. or you spend money on sugar babies. That's how middle class guys of average income um, feel like they're wealthy, because there's some 19-year-old or 20-year-old who needs some help with whatever shit she wants to buy, right? That's the second option. And the third option is you don't make it financially. You're just okay financially, but paying for access to sex with an attractive woman is out of your reach. So that it's prostitutes for you, or an unhappy marriage with an affair here or there. Statistically, that's what I've seen in the past 12 years of helping men end their compulsive behavior. So think about it. Why would you say while you're young that you're going to completely avoid working on your dating life and instead focus on your business and career, when your sex drive will never be as high as it is now, when you will never be as good looking as you are right now, when you will never have the energy to do both of those things like you do now? And what do I mean by energy to do both of those things? Now, in your 20s through your 30s, especially your early 30s, is the time that you have energy to both date and work. You can do both of these things, bro, because you are young. Instead, you want to act like a guy who's 40 years old and who has the clock ticking, right? The clock's ticking, and you're just like, I don't have time to date. I've been around most of my life. I'm just going to go all out and grind, right? So what should you do? The first thing is to accept that the reality. You spent so many years chasing. This is what you were. When I say chasing, you were actually chasing the endorphins that came from orgasm, because you were trying to medicate some sort of pain in your life. But it doesn't change the fact that you were doing it sexual way, right? Now you have this opportunity to have sex. Why would you suddenly pretend that sex is not important and say, you know what, business is more important than sex, career is more important than sex? Accept the fact that you are running away from some sort of pain in your dating life. That's the first thing that you need to do. The second thing is kill this belief that you need power, you need status, and you need money in order to attract beautiful women. This is false. You don't need any of these things to have experiences with the type of women that you want. It is called game, right? Everything else just has to do with wealth and power. And that's completely different, right? So this is a belief. Do not waste your time doing those things. Build a business, work on your career for yourself, for your family, and for your freedom. But financial freedom is very different from social freedom. And you are ignoring your social freedom when you say, I'm not going to focus on dating right now. I'm going to focus on building up my finances. So be honest with yourself. The second piece of this is the time piece. When you have the right system, you do not need to spend too much time dating. It does not, and it should not, interfere with your business life. My dating life did not interfere with my work. It was a completely separate compartment of my life. You can have 2 to maximum 3 seasons of your life that you're going through. The beauty about the dating season of your life is that, first of all, it doesn't need to take up that much time. And secondly, it is one of the easiest areas of your life to master. Business, when you make it in business, it is not when you make it in business, brother. It is if you make it in business. Why? Because there's so many complicated things that are out of your control. You might enter the wrong business. It might be the wrong time, right? Something might happen in that market. You may have to go from doing a one-man show to hiring employees. There might be regulations. Yeah, there's so many things that come up. None of those things come up in dating. It's pretty straightforward when you know exactly what you want and what you're looking for. Business is not that straightforward. It isn't. It is only by working on your dating reboot that you can go out 2 or 3 times in a week or most of the times that you go out and you can meet somebody that's exciting, that you want to spend time with, and that you can be emotionally and sexually intimate with. In business, you cannot walk out there cold and in 2 months, you're just like, yeah, I have a business that's bringing in 50 grand a month. There are so many steps and there's so much energy that's being put into that will sap the life out of you. And when I say sap the life out of you, I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just being very honest because I'm a guy who is successful in business, multiple businesses, but I'm also a guy who struggled with a compulsive behavior. And I'm a guy who got my together with dating. And I'm also here to tell you that when you spend a lot of energy on business and that's your only focus and you're obsessed about it, you run the risk of becoming a boring guy, a black and white guy. You're just like, oh, everything in your life is business, 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 busy, 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 busy. That's how you're conditioning yourself. It's very different when you're just working or you have one business that you've already started and you're dating. You're more interesting. Your whole life, your whole identity isn't business. I'll wrap it up here because I can keep going. My point remains. Stop running away from the challenging parts of your dating reboot. Stop running to business. Stop running to career. Do not get that harsh wake-up call when you have the money and everything. And I've seen it so many times. I remember being younger when I had game. I'll go to Vegas and a few other places. And there were these guys just sitting at a table, just literally just watching us with all the women. The women would come to their table, party with them, dance, drink a little bit, then leave the table and come and hang out with us. Why? Because we were younger, we had game, and we were fun. And those men were just providers. Sure, there are a lot of younger guys who don't have game. There are a lot of younger guys who don't take care of themselves. There are a lot of younger guys who are not socially calibrated. But that's why you're in the dating reboot. Maximize the time and the opportunities you have at this point in your life. Work hard, build a business, but do not use your business as an excuse to neglect your dating life. You still need to be sexually active. The reality of your sexual behavior, you can't chase that away, right? You were still acting out sexually. It's crazy that guys who just pretend like, oh, it's just not a priority to me right now. I know what's going to happen to you in a few months. All right. So enough said. I'll keep reminding you guys of this, but that's my message for y'all today.